we Chechens have this tradition of doing combat sports. And it starts when we are young. Like, since we start to walk, we either go to wrestling or boxing or jiu-jitsu, some combat sport. But the most popular ones are boxing and wrestling. And what does this do to a human being? Like doing combat sports, what is the difference between a combat sport and a other sport like soccer or basketball? Yes, you are competing against other men in those sports also, but the difference is that in boxing and in wrestling, you try to break another man. You are fighting to see who's stronger, whose genes are better, if we can say it in that way. And that does something to your mindset. You have a different type of motivation. And when you are doing combat sports since you are a kid and you are growing with that type of mindset and that type of discipline, by doing all that since you are young, you grow up and you think in a whole different way as an adult. Like, look at Americans today and before. Not only the testosterone is sinking, but also American men is becoming more and more feminine because of their bad habits and the lack of sports, like combat sports. Yes, like UFC, MMA, this is getting popular, and boxing has also been popular all the time. But still, the number of men that is getting weaker is just increasing. And that doesn't happen in Chechnya, where I'm from. And you know why? Because we are raising our children in a whole different way. We have our children it's a tradition in my country to do combat sports. There is no choice. You either do this or you do not do nothing. When my cousins, small cousins, and my family members, they either do boxing or wrestling. They do combat sports. They think or older men think that giving out your kids to do other sports than combat sports is just wasting time. Like, my father, when I was a kid, he said to me and he said to my mom that making me to do soccer or basketball, whatever other sport than combat sport, it's a waste of time. Like, how can I implement that into my life? Because if I do combat sport and I learn how to fight, then I can use it for the rest of my life. I will have more confidence. I'll be much more stronger than if I was some soccer athlete. Combat sport changes your mindset and it gives you more confidence. And you need confidence in this life. And we Chechens, we know that. This is what other people, other nations, if I can say it that way, are missing. You need to take this from us. You need to implement combat sports. Like people in ancient Greece, like in Sparta, in Europe back then, they were all fighting. They were all high testosterone men. 12-year-old boys in Sparta, they were going to wars, fighting, dying like a grown men. They had more testosterone than 30-year-old men today. It's all about the hormones and the mindset and the environment we are living in and the environment we are putting ourselves into. So men are getting softer, and that's why the testosterone in men is decreasing as well. We have no motivation, no discipline, no mindset. Like we want comfort zone, and that is killing us. Everybody wants to be rich and strong, all of that. But what is the reason that only under 1% and even less achieve it? What is the reason? It's because we are in our comfort zone. And the way we get out of it is implementing things that we need. And combat sports, if you ask me, is the number one key factor that a man needs to implement to his life to have more motivation, more like discipline, and to change his mindset. There are three things that he needs to succeed and to become the man he needs to become, the man he was supposed to be when he was born. So do more combat sports. I promise you, it will be the best decision of your life. You won't regret it. So let's get stronger. Stay strong.